So Frank, you were an FBI agent at assigned to the Chicago office when 9/11 happened. Now,
Yes.
What kind of impact does that have on you here in Chicago?
Wow. So, everybody says I knew where I was when 9/11 happened. What I'm shocked is that today, when you say, where were you at 9/11, there's a lot of people say I wasn't even born. There are agents now that were not born during 9/11, but I was born. So I was driving to work. Anybody that knows anything about Chicago knows that traffic is a way of life. And I was stuck in traffic going downtown to the office in the morning. And I was driving my very first work car. So it was pretty beat up and pretty old. And we got a call over the radio. And I was listening to AM radio because I like the news radio, talk radio. I was listening to that. And I was listening to these stories about, well, they think maybe a Cessna accidentally ran into the World Trade Center. And so I'm listening to that and I'm thinking, what kind of idiot flies an airplane into a building that big and doesn't see it? And suddenly the FBI radio goes off, which it never does. It's not typically an all hands on deck broadcast, and it was, basically a call on the radio to everybody. Everybody that's listening to this communication, report downtown to the FBI office. New York is under terrorist attack. So, now I'm fighting traffic, screaming down the side of the road on the shoulder, trying to get downtown. So I was.
Let me. Did you connect at that point? Did you connect the plane hitting the tower? You didn't
not
make
completely.
That connection. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, not completely. I think the picture was starting to develop that it might have been a commercial plane that had hit, but that was still fuzzy math at that time. I don't know that it was really crystal clear. It was just that there were things happening that were unexplained, and the news was trying to sort it out, and they were getting it wrong for the most part. Mm-hmm. But it just, to myself, I think listening to the news broadcast, I was like, something's just not right about this, But obviously I can't see it. I'm not watching the video that was out there. So I was just told, go to the office right now and go. So I went. I show up at the office. I'm assigned to a drug squad at the time, so I'm dressed kind of like right now. And we gather up in our squad area, and my supervisor had a TV in his office. At that time, our squad areas were like bullpens. They were just big, wide open areas with the desks all in a row. And then his office had a TV. And so we were, at that point, in the office, kind of all squished in there, all 12, 13 of us, watching the TV. And we were watching when the first tower fell. And someone came around to my squad area and they said, go home, put on a suit. You are now working midnight to noon from now on, period. Just go. Go get your stuff, get back. I went home, threw on a suit. I drove back to the office. By then, there's nobody on the road. Downtown Chicago, the roads are empty. That's not heard of, never. Drive downtown, I get to the office, and it was all hands on deck 24 hours a day. So what we did is we lined up in the hallway in pairs. It didn't matter who you were paired up with, just in pairs. And they set up a command post, and they were receiving leads coming in from everywhere. From the public, from headquarters, from wherever. It was just pouring in. And we were assigned to cover any leads that had any Chicago connections, anything whatsoever. It had to do with Chicago, we were to cover it. And so my team, my shift was the midnight to noon. And so we would get a lead, and it would be something like, someone called in and said that their neighbors are acting suspicious, and they happen to be Muslims, or they appear to be Muslims, or just it ran the gambit of everyone. Anything unusual that someone saw, they were calling it in. And the bottom line was, we had to track it down and say yay or nay. This is something or it's not something. And so it might be, we had one where we needed to go and interview a business owner about, he had a rug company that sold rugs that originated in the Middle East, and someone thought something was nefarious about it. And so you can't just discount it. You can't say, you know what, this is just the public being the public, and everybody's got a conspiracy theory. But the answer was no, you're going to run it down. And so it could be 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm knocking on this guy's door, waking his family up, and saying, we need to talk about this. And it was stressful because, you're thinking in your own mind, well, why don't we wait till daytime and hit this thing when he's at the office in the morning? The answer was no. Everything was, you will take care of this right this second, and you are assigned that lead until it is covered. And you will keep going until you get this covered. And then you will come back to the office, you will write the paperwork up immediately, you will put it on what were those 3.5 little plastic discs that nobody knows what those are anymore. And you would go to the command post, you would hand your paperwork in with the disc, and then you would be immediately given another lead that you and another person had to go and cover. And I was a very inexperienced agent. I was still on probation. I had come out of the academy, got to Chicago in May. So we're talking, May of '01, now September of '01. I'm still very green. And so I'm paired up with veteran agents, and I was paired up with one agent who unfortunately lost his life in a training accident. But I was paired up with Greg. Greg and I were going out in the middle of the night to go and interview this guy, and Greg says, well, let me run him real quick and make sure we know a little bit about him. And it turned out he had a warrant. But the lead was so important that we knocked on the door, and we sat down and talked to him with his family there. And unfortunately, I had to say, now, unfortunately, sir, you just stand up, put your hands behind your back, and I had to take him into custody for a Chicago warrant. And then Chicago PD, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, Chicago PD showed up out in front, and we just handed him off. They took out, swapped out handcuffs, but his family was looking at us like, what kind of monsters are you? And I was like, I'm sorry, but this is what we have to do. I mean, the bottom line is the warrant the guy had, no one was looking for him, to be honest. But once you have them, you have them. There's nothing I could do. But for 30 days, we were on midnights to noon, just running leads. Everything else stopped. Didn't matter how important your cases were, or matter what phase your case was in, and it stopped. Just stopped. Done. Figure out a way to put it on ice. This is what you're doing. And I'm very proud that I was working on 9/11, that I was doing the work necessary, but it was difficult. It was definitely difficult, working those hours, and the chaos of it. It was very chaotic. Leads were coming in, and it was difficult at that time to say, has this one already been covered? Has it not been covered? Is this a brand new lead? Is it an old lead? That's all been ironed out now. But at that time, I don't know that a national terrorist incident had ever happened. And so the infrastructure within the divisions was not 100% fine-tuned for that. So there were a lot of redundancies of things that we did. But what I did find is that there's not a single human being, no one, that denied us the ability to talk to them. No one said no. No one. No one said no. Didn't matter if they were the hardcore gangbanger or whoever they were. They would talk to us without hesitation, because everyone felt that sting, that how dare you do this to the United States of America. Didn't matter your background, didn't matter who you were. And, you know, we did our job respectfully, without judgment of anyone. So I'm very proud of that.